Hello, welcome to this session of Talking Tech, Women and Girls in ICT. My name is Dr. Teena Hassan, and today I'm delighted to be representing the Women in AI and Robotics Association in Germany, of which I am a core team member. I am also a postdoctoral researcher at the University of Bremen in the Robotics group. I'm excited to be having a discussion about tech and tech careers with Professor Dr. Ute Schmid, head of the Cognitive Systems Group at the University of Bamberg and the head of Comprehensible Artificial Intelligence Group at Fraunhofer IIS in Germany. Talking Tech is a series celebrating girls and women in tech being recorded around the world between Girls in ICT Day 2020 and Girls in ICT Day 2022. Girls in ICT Day is an international day marked on the fourth Thursday of each April. In 2021, Girls in ICT Day was held on 22nd April. The objectives of Girls in ICT Day are to help to create a global environment that empowers and encourages girls and young women to consider studies and careers in the growing field of information and communication technologies. The Talking Tech series is brought to you by the ITU, UNICC, and the Office of the UN Secretary General's Envoy on Youth and is in support of Equals, the Global Partnership for Gender Equality in the Digital Age. Women in AI and Robotics Association is pleased to be a partner on this session today. The goals of the series include to interest and inspire girls and younger women with information about a range of ICT careers that can be had, bring before a broader audience some of the role model women in tech and share information about their career journeys and work, offer diverse examples of how ICT is being used to support achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals and other UN goals, showcase initiatives that are working with girls to support them in ICT studies or future ICT careers, provide girls and young women in tech with a leadership opportunity to represent and promote a Girls in Tech organization with which they are involved and promote it to a broader international audience. To kick this session off, I am going to introduce you to the Women in AI and Robotics Association, which is headquartered in Munich, Germany. The aim of this nonprofit initiative is to empower, educate, and support the current as well as the next generation of female AI and robotics enthusiasts. I contribute to the educational programs of the association and help in establishing collaborations with the academia and other research institutions in Germany in order to jointly work towards closing the gender gap in AI and robotics. For more information, you can visit womeninairobotics.de. As you can see, a more gender-balanced tech sector, especially involving artificial intelligence and robotics, is something that I'm passionate about and working towards. Therefore, I'm delighted to now shift to a conversation with Professor Dr. Ute Schmid, who is a professor for cognitive systems at the Faculty of Information Systems and Applied Computer Sciences at the University of Bamberg in Germany, and who also leads a research group on a comprehensible artificial intelligence at Fraunhofer IIS. He is a member of the steering committee of the IBM Fortis Center for AI and a member of the Bavarian AI Council. Professor Schmid is a pioneer of computer science for primary school and is engaged in educating the public as well as teachers and high school students about artificial intelligence and machine learning. She also dedicates a significant amount of her time to measures supporting women in computer science. In 2018, she won the Minerva Award of Informatics Europe for her university. In 2020, she was awarded with the prestigious Rainer Markgraf Prize for her outreach activities. Professor Schmid was also my PhD advisor and is one of the strongest mentors shaping my research career in Germany. Dear Professor Schmid, you are an inspiration. Thank you for being here today.
Hello, Teena. Thank you for this very nice introduction.
So, Professor Schmidt, could you please tell us about your journey into computer science, artificial intelligence, and machine learning? What inspired you to study and pursue a career in technology, especially after obtaining your first diploma in psychology?
Yes, so I started a typical girl career, you could say, having a rather good high school diploma, Abitur, and with focus topics or majors, however you would call it in general, in um, German and English. Mathematics has been my third subject, however, so I have been interested in that also. But yeah, I started studying psychology, maybe a little bit untypically already, not because I wanted to become a therapist, but because I wanted to understand more about what humans are, how they think, learn, perceive, understand, and so on. So this was my basic motivation. And during the master part of my studies, I first needed some statistics applications, which at this time, we speak of 1987 or 1988, has not been available in statistics programs. So I needed to program this myself, and I did experiments where I also needed to program the experiment itself. So I said, okay, I'm at TU Berlin, Technical University Berlin. I go and listen to a lecture about programming in Pascal. I did this, and the first homework assignment has been pocket calculator simulation. And this changed my life, I have to say. Because I was not aware about programming before that.
Mhm.
And what I loved was that you have this uh, playback of whenever you are thinking sloppily or
Mhm.
not in the right direction, because you see the effect of your sloppy thinking in a way. And I really loved that. And when you master a programming assignment, it works. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know. And in psychology, you could never say it works. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really
Yes.
liked that.
Yeah.
And in parallel, however, I read books about cognitive modeling, cognitive simulation, artificial intelligence, and I thought, wow, to really understand how humans learn, think, and so on, it's also good to know a little bit more about computer science. And so I decided to study more, and I got more and more fascinated, and I ended up with the second diploma.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Like, yeah, I can understand this. Oh, it works effect when the programs that you write give you the results that you need.
Yeah.
Yes. Um, what are your current activities as part of your dual role as a university professor and a head of group at a leading applied research institute in Germany?
Yeah, so we are in really exciting times as AI researchers. So I could, I think, talk about hours about my current activities. Don't worry, I will not do this. But since this AI hype, the current AI summer started, I have been lucky enough as kind of a long-term AI researcher. I do this since back in the 1990s, basically. That suddenly everybody is interested in what I do in research, and this is a really great experience. So I currently have many third-party funded projects, really large ones, partially. I'm often invited to give talks. I have many doctoral researchers, And yeah, I get to have lots of new exciting contacts. For instance, today at the morning, I spent part of my time at the Bavarian Institute of Digital Transformation, where we had joint sessions with doctoral researchers from Berlin, Dortmund, and Munich.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in the domain of yeah, research concerning digital transformation, basically. So this was highly interdisciplinary and really exciting. But so my main focus is on explainable AI, and I think there it's a big advantage to understand about psychology, how humans think, about cognitive psychology, actually, how
Mm-hmm.
about how you do critical empirical research, not just naive user studies,
Mm-hmm.
and combine this with knowledge about, yeah, AI methods, not only machine learning, but also classical knowledge representation.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because for creating explainable AI systems, I think you need both. You need knowledge based approaches and machine learning.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really helpful if you understand human cognition.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, to bring human cognition, artificial cognition together and draw parallels between them and to understand what can a computer do differently from a human. I also find this very interesting. So, Professor Schmidt, you told that you have your duties as a professor, you have lots of doctoral students, you give talks, you are involved in a lot of projects. So, you have a very busy schedule. So, how does a workday in your life look like, and how do you manage time effectively?
Yeah, this question might be a little bit embarrassing because I have the feeling that I'm not so effective, and that basically I am, since I would guess summer 2018, basically only working. I have a daughter, I have a husband, I have a garden. So the garden is a ruin. My husband is luckily very tolerant, and he he can care for himself. But I think my daughter, who is 17, she is also very independent, and everything works well. But basically, I think I work too much, and yeah, which is not a good thing. But it's so exciting, all the opportunities which we currently have, that I kind of think I could do this another year, and then I should start to take free weekends again.
Mhm.
Or free evenings. So it's really hard. So typical day is that I wake up too early and start thinking about what I forgot to do the evening before. Like, oh, I didn't answer this email. Oh, I should have submitted this and that to somebody, and so on. And then I start reading tons of emails in between, preparing talks, giving lectures, going to meetings, talking with students, talking with doctoral researchers, talking, video conference, trying in between to really think and do research. The exciting times are when I'm really working with a doctoral researcher of my group on a paper, when we really go to details and discuss. This is the highlights of my weeks, and this is too seldom.
Yeah, yes, I can vouch for that. I always enjoyed our paper related discussions, and I always feel that you have a special talent in giving such inspiring goals to your doctoral
Ah,
students. And I always felt that excitement. Yes, this is a goal that I can achieve and I want to achieve. So I think you have that inspirational quality that you can transfer and share with your PhD students.
oh, thank you, Tina. But this has been not difficult with you because you are inspired yourself. No hard
Yeah,
work.
but I think, thank you. Yeah, but I think you have also played a crucial role. I mean, PhD is also a vulnerable time where you are on a research all on your own and you are responsible for your work. And
Yes.
there, you don't know when should you say, okay, it's done, when should you stop, and which directions should you explore. So the role of a mentor is very crucial, and I always feel very lucky to have had you, and thank you for that.
Thank you, Tina. It's often the PhDs, the doctoral researchers who didn't need it, yeah, who give me the greatest compliments. That's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So you said that your day is full. You have lots of appointments and so on. But I could read from your face that you find this exciting. So, what do you love best about your job? What motivates you to keep doing it?
Mhm.
And also, can you share an example or two of things you have done in or with technology that you're particularly proud of? Maybe some specific research projects?
Mhm. Yeah, so first, what is most exciting? So, what I really love is to be at a university, maybe in contrast to a research institute. So, I also have the Fraunhofer Group, which is research, but in general, I have this really, for me, really important mix of research, teaching, and also to a limited amount. I like it really. Admin, organization stuff like thinking about how to design your future degrees of studies and such things like that. I think it's also important. So
Mhm,
I like these three, let's say, columns of university work. I wouldn't like to only teach. I
mhm,
wouldn't like to only research, and I
mhm,
wouldn't at all like to only organize. But this combination is great if you have the chance to keep it in balance.
mhm,
So this is what I like, because when you teach, you learn a lot
mhm,
also. And most fascinating or impressive things I did. So what really makes me happy this last year is that since many years I worked on how can I capture in a machine learning algorithm
mhm,
the complex learning humans can do when it comes to very high level abstract competencies,
mhm,
more in the symbolic domain. So, I think a good example is how children learn the grammar of
mhm,
their own language.
mhm,
So, most children cannot give you the rules, most adults also not. But we are able to extract wherever we are, yeah,
mhm,
the underlying grammar rules
mhm,
from our language. And
mhm,
this is such a powerful competency, which we also see in, let's say, when I show you some basic list patterns, you would immediately from three examples see, oh, she is reversing the list, for
mhm,
instance. And
mhm,
when I give you a new list, you immediately could generate the right answer. What does
mhm,
she want now? And this is something everybody can do, even children. But
mhm,
it's very hard to model this, to cover this in a machine learning approach. And
mhm,
neural networks cannot do this really.
mhm,
So they can show you this type of performance, but
mhm,
they don't have this abstract, recursive, nice, compact rule which gives you the understanding of this
mhm.
problem. And this is what I love to do. I do this since a long time. And interestingly, papers I wrote about 10 years back get cited now. because
Wow.
and I really like that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it's recognized now. People start again to be interested in the relation between cognitive science and artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And this interest is now growing, which is really exciting for me.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yes, I think also many of the things that you said that we learn from smaller set of examples, and that it's amazing to see how children construct or learn the grammar of their own language and so on. And also, I know that you work on explainable AI and apply it to health care systems. And so I think many of these things that you're doing actually align well with the sustainable development goals. And especially learning from few examples could lead to more energy efficient solutions and could maybe also enhance the potential also of machine learning methods.
Mhm.
Just like you told me some days ago about informed machine learning and a combination of so subsymbolic and symbolic approaches. I think this all this is very exciting, and I think this would shape the future of the society.
Hopefully, because we want to have beneficial AI. I think
Yes.
this is a term coined by Stuart Russell.
Ah.
And I really like this term beneficial AI. We
Yeah.
want AI for the human good and for the good of the environment. So
Yeah.
actually, I have one project since now more than 4 years, third party funded, which is called Dare to Dell,
Mhm.
where we actually support humans in their working context to get rid of digital clutter,
Mhm.
because everybody is saving data and files all the time with
Mhm.
this latent fear. Oh, it might be that I could need this in the future, but
Yeah.
70% of what we store is never needed again. And companies really save all this rubbish in
Yeah.
cloud farms. And these are really, because you need to cool these farms a lot,
Mhm.
this is really not energy efficient. So we should get rid of digital clutter. But
Mhm.
this is not easy to do. And I'm really happy that we have this project where we try to engage people to reflect about what they could delete.
Yeah, that's nice. Yes.
Mhm.
Um, I know that you are an active promoter of women in computer science and that you are engaged in AI education at different levels. So, would you please tell us more about these activities and why it is important for you to engage in these activities?
Yeah. Okay. So the first is that I am very grateful that I had the luck to detect computer science as
Mhm.
my topic and AI as a student, where I still had the chance to do the second degree, to the PhD, a
Mhm.
doctoral thesis, and habilitation, and become a professor in computer science, AI.
Mhm.
And so, because I'm so grateful, I feel kind of obliged to help others, especially young women and girls, to have the same chance. I think not that everybody should study computer science. There are
Mhm.
many, many interesting topics in science in
Mhm.
general and engineering and so on. But I think it's important that everybody has the chance to find for herself what makes her happy and independent, right?
Mhm.
So you need something in terms of an occupation for your own, where you can
Mhm.
give your passion and your competencies. And
Mhm.
so this is my main motivation to start with children very early on, already in kindergarten age 5 approximately. And I offer hands-on workshop experiences for these young children up to young women shortly before they decide what to study or what occupation to take. This is the one aspect. Why I do this AI education is because I think that AI will make in future a really, really big impact on every aspect of our life, be it
Mhm.
education, medicine, how we work. And I think many people are afraid. They have this yeah, maybe a little bit unclear feeling that this might be not a good idea. But typically, what people are afraid of is about the superhuman intelligence with a conscious, with a consciousness which decides, oh, these humans are terrible, we will kill them all, or whatever, we will make slaves of humans.
Yeah.
But this is not what we need to be afraid of. I think what we need to be afraid of are completely different things, much more serious and more
Mhm.
probable, like using predictive learning analytics in school in a way like we use predictive maintenance in industry makes education something which is only based on behavioral markers,
Mhm.
like, yeah. And
Mhm.
education is something which you cannot monitor by forcing children to do everything on computers, that you can
Mhm.
have log files, that you can analyze their
Mhm.
behavior.
Mhm.
I think education is more. I think
Mhm.
we can use AI in education, in healthcare, in nursing, in medicine, and so on, but we can use it for the human good. And we currently have lots of dangers that we might use it for the human bad. Yeah. And
Yeah.
this is why I think it's so important to educate the public about what AI really can do and what it not is,
Mhm.
that we can have yeah, a discourse about how do we want to live in future with AI,
Mhm.
where everybody can contribute.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so this is yeah, my basic motivation to give all these talks, sometimes 3 times a week, sometimes to 20 persons, sometimes to 300 persons. It's yeah,
Yeah, I think you are making a great impact in that way.
good.
Yes.
I hope.
I was reading about this in a book named Weapons of Math Destruction. And yeah, I found it alarming to see that even government institutions use and trust such systems without understanding what's behind this and how these decisions are made. And
Right.
I think with your research in explainable and interpretable AI, I think you are addressing also a second dimension of this problem.
Exactly. So I do it with talks to the public, and I hope that I also can contribute a little bit with my research.
Research, yes.
Yes.
Uh, so, Professor Schmid, you have mentored a large number of students, and since the series is about girls and women in technology, do you have any career advice for girls and younger women in technology, especially those who would like to pursue an academic career like
Mhm.
yours?
Yes. So, Tina, you could give the advice also, because you are now a really successful postdoc. And yeah, I think that you will make a successful academic career. I really hope that what I see for you in the future will come true. But what is my advice? It is that you really need to love what you are doing,
Mm-hmm.
because when you are doing research, you get often frustrated. First, when you do basic research, because it might be that you work for weeks and then you see that this will not work at all and you have to try it in a different way. So, this is frustrating, and you need to have the power and be convinced about the general good of what you're doing, that you pursue this. But then it's also a little bit a science like art. When you are a writer or a painter and you put what your heart is on to public
Mhm.
inspection, you
Yeah.
have to be, yeah, you have to endure critics, people
Mhm.
who say, what crap, this book is not good at all, or look at this ugly painting, or whatever. And
Yeah.
it's a little bit the same in science. You get lots of rejections. You submit
Mhm.
papers where you worked on nights, weekends, yeah, didn't go out in the sun like everybody else, and so on. You didn't
Mhm.
enjoy a free Sunday. You work, and then you submit it, and let's say 6 months later, you get a reject. Yeah,
Mm.
you
Yeah.
need to be able to deal with that, and
Mhm.
you can only deal with that when you have a good balance between self-critic, that you can say, oh well, here the reviewer, that's right, this is, yeah, now I see this, that is
Mhm.
not good how I did it. But on the other hand, also your self-respect, that you say, no, but this is good, and the basic idea is good, and yeah, I will pursue, I will do it further. And I think this is, yeah, not an easy thing to do.
Mhm.
Especially often young girls are rather dependent on what others say about them, what
Mhm.
others tell them. And
Mhm.
this belief in yourself is so
Mhm.
important.
Mhm.
And so, what I try to do, also with my students and also with my good research, doctoral research students, researchers, is to explicitly tell them when they are good, you know,
Yeah.
because you cannot hear this often enough. Yeah.
Yeah. True.
Um, until you believe it. And this is especially important for girls and women.
Yeah, yeah, I really understand this. Yes, the research is a lot about perseverance, and you should know to get up and run again, even if you fall in
Right,
between. So I had a friend who used to say, I am a winner because I finished the race. So
right.
I think, yeah, that's true. And like you said, uh, having somebody there to say to say that you are good at the right time when they need to hear it can make a lot of difference.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have experienced this from you, and that's has helped me a lot.
Oh, great. I'm really happy to hear this, Tina.
Thank you, Tina.
So now I have also questions for you, Tina, of course. So when I met you the first time, it's years and years ago. I remember this was before you even started your PhD.
Yeah,
You came to kind of apply to
yeah,
me, right? With
yeah.
a really excellent, well prepared talk. I remember this. I was deeply impressed. And
Mhm.
what I wondered then, and I still, we talked about this, but nevertheless, you left your home country, which is really far away from Germany, in India. You came to Germany already as a student. And yeah, so I asked myself, how can one be so adventurous? What was your motivation? What were your hopes? And did you find what you searched for?
Yes, thank you for asking this. I often reflect on this, and now when I look back, yes, it was indeed an adventure. I realize it, but at that time I was 25 years old and so full of energy and optimism. I never had second thoughts, and my only focus was to convince people around me that I want to study and I want to study robotics. So at that time, I was working as part of a non-profit initiative of Wipro Technologies. It was called Mission 10X, and it focused on empowering engineering university faculty across India to improve the quality of education. So I worked with them for a little more than a year, and then I realized that to make an impact in the education sector, you should have higher academic qualifications. So at that time, I only had a bachelor in computer science and engineering, but I realized that higher studies are essential. And I had a friend at that time who was into robotics, so we used to discuss about this very often. And I was convinced about the potential that AI and robotics had to improve human lives. So that's how I decided to study robotics for my master's. And then this friend also recommended that I should study abroad because he said that would broaden my perspectives about education and I will understand how different academic environments work. And I found this valuable, and I so decided, yes, I want to
Mm,
study abroad. And I don't know why I chose Germany. It just came intuitively to me, maybe because I have worked with German clients before,
mm.
or we study often about German scientists and engineers. So I don't know. It was a
Interesting.
yeah, it was
Because,
an
yeah.
intuition. Yeah.
Yeah, because an English-speaking country would have been definitely easier because learning German is not so easy.
Yeah, true, true. Yes. So
Yeah.
some of my friends did advise me to choose an English-speaking country, but somehow I had this feeling, no, I must study in Germany. And I remember taking German courses just before moving to Germany, and I like learning languages, and so yeah, it was interesting. I never thought I would learn another language at the age of 26, but yes, yeah. And after come when I came here, I only had the masters in focus. I was not sure how life and career would develop after that. So all that happened after masters just came step by step. So
Hmm.
and I'm very happy to have done my PhD with you as my advisor. And I hope that someday my dream and the initial goal that brought me here would be realized and I can give back to my home country.
Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah, this is very nice. So this actually brings me to the second question, where I want to ask a little bit more about your doctoral research. So you worked in the domain of recognizing mental states and emotions from facial expressions. What has been your greatest breakthrough during your work, and what are you most proud of?
Yes, actually, the breakthrough I must say was to get the first author paper published. So that was a milestone, I think.
Hmm.
And that really boosted my confidence, and it told me that okay, this idea that I had to fuse facial shape and appearance information
Hmm.
is indeed something valid. So, and it survived three reviews. So it
Hmm.
went
Yes.
through three reviewers, and all of them were like either weak accept or strong accept.
Yes.
So that was amazing. Till that time, I was like always doubtful. Is it good enough? It looks so small and so on. But to get that through was really a turning point. And after that, I think the publications came through, and I somehow felt that I have a kind of feeling for how to write a good paper. And so this first publication with as a first author was kind of um, a proof for me that yes, my ideas are good and they work.
Hmm.
So and yeah, what am I most proud of? Yes, through the doctoral research, I learned more about emotions. So I am an emotional person, and I make my decisions sometimes based on how I feel. So it was interesting to see emotions from a more scientific perspective. I learned about the dimensions of appraisal and how do we express emotions, that we can study it objectively and in a structured way, and so on. So that was useful for me as a person. But what I'm most proud of is the PhD thesis itself and to see it take shape. So it's one thing to publish papers and another thing to connect them together to form a story. So first you sit with a blank document and then fill it up, and over a half a year I could see it developing. And then I realized what PhD is about. Like, you should know the relevance, importance of individual results, and how they can join together to form a bigger picture about a particular topic.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
I feel always very happy to
yeah, you
look
can
at
be
my
very
thesis.
proud. One should say that you got the very best mark. In Germany, there are different marks, and this was with distinction
Thank,
and earned, well earned, and
thank
won a prize. In
yeah.
case when people are listening to us talking and we talk about publications, maybe one should explain a little bit that research, of course, is not just the publication, but your research cannot be known and adopted by other persons when it's not published. So
Yeah.
basically, research is about working on a topic, coming up with an algorithm or a mathematical concept, really do it, test it on data, and so on, evaluate it, and then write it down in such a way that
Hmm.
other people understand what's this about, why is it important, how does it relate to previous work, very
Hmm.
important. Yeah, we are always on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah.
And so publications are a really important part of science, not because we hunt for a better H index, but
Mhm.
because this is how we can communicate with other researchers in our domain, and this is the important thing. And I remember when we met about this paper, your first accepted one, is at a really good conference. I thought, because I didn't know you so good, okay, this is a first paper. So we will now need one complete afternoon and talk about why you can't write it like that, why there is no storyline, why this should be formalized in a different way, and so on. And then you came and it was basically perfect. And I could say, okay, well, very nice introduction. The structure is plausible. You write everything there. It was amazing, really, Teena.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm coming to my last question. So you came from India to Germany. You worked at Fraunhofer, and maybe we should also mention that your mentor there also supported you
Yes.
I think in a very, very good way.
Yes. Dr.
And
Jens Garbers. Yes.
right. Um, and then from Fraunhofer, you went as a postdoc to SciTech in Bielefeld, and now you are in Bremen at university. And so you are again moving. What is hard when you move all this time, and what is exciting and inspiring?
Yes. Thank you for asking this question again. Yes, I know. I realized that my career graph has been very mobile, I would say. So I have worked in different institutions. It was not planned. It just came successively. So as I worked in research at an institution, I learned, I evolved, and I came to a crossroad when I had to choose the next direction in my career. And I think I am a student. I like to learn. And so first I worked in facial expression analysis, and after like 4 or 6 years, I felt like, okay, now I have an idea about this field. I do not know yet how this can be used in technologies. So where is this relevant? So that's when I saw this so this position, research position at SciTech. And that was a project on cognitive interaction architectures. It was in the group of Professor Stefan Kopp. And there I could develop this architecture for human robot interaction. And there I learned how perception fits with other cognitive processes like memorizing, learning, planning, and acting. And that showed me a kind of the landscape of cognitive science or cognition.
Hmm.
And then I felt like now I have to focus on one particular area, and now I am very much interested in episodic memories and their role in interaction. So I'm now at the robotics research group of Professor Frank Kirchner, and here we are trying to research on behavior, interaction with more focus on the human side, and something like more basic research. So it was like I discovered what I need to know next. How can I enhance my knowledge? It was I have kind of explorative mind, I think. So I want to explore what's out there and find them. And yes, what is hard for me is always to separate from people. So when you work with them for a while, you develop a relationship with them. Then you have to leave it behind, go to a new place. So that's a little bit hard for me. But the new place offers new opportunities. So I got to know new people, new cities, and new projects. And I realized that I have learned about different styles of work, different styles of leadership, because I have worked with different mentors and leaders. And I also learned what are the different types of projects, and what are the different research topics that fall under the umbrella of AI and robotics. So it has enriched me, and I know that I have broadened my perspectives. I have seen more than I would have if I stayed at one place. So change is hard, but I think change also brings growth if you have an idea about what you are chasing. I think so. I would encourage young girls and also older women to not fear to embrace change and to follow their heart and do what they like.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
a very fitting finishing statement, I think.
Yeah. Yes. So that wraps up our session today for Talking Tech, Women and Girls in ICT. Thank you so much, Professor Schmid. It is always invigorating to speak to you. And I hope that our viewers also found our conversation inspiring and insightful. So thanks to our viewers for watching, and bye bye.
Bye.